I've been saying it since the year started, and every publication pretty much has been saying it, but 2023 has been the best, if not a top three best year in gaming. And we've seen that the whole year, from indie titles to sequels to brand new IP. This year had everything for everybody pretty much. So the time has finally come for me to give you guys my top 10 video games for the year 2023. Now, if you're new to the channel, you like gaming news, reviews, unboxings, discussions, things like that, Nintendo, PlayStation, everything, please make sure you do subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video and leave a comment. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get right into this list. Now, before we get into my top 10, I want to do a honorable mentions very quickly. So these honorable mentions are video games that did not come out this year, but I did play them and beat them this year, and I just wanted to recognize them really quickly. Now, the first one on that list is Astral Chain. Now, you've probably seen in any of the top action games or top JRPGs or top hidden gems on Nintendo Switch lists, everyone pretty much has this game on there. Astral Chain was such a good hidden gem developed by Platinum Games, and it was very unique. So please check out my review on it, but it does have elements of, the hack and slash type gameplay as well as detective type gameplay. It was a really unique game, and I think everybody should experience it. Next up for the honorable mentions, we have The Last of Us 1 and 2. So I put both of these on here because I played them around the same time when the show came out, and The Last of Us, I always heard for years and years, just you have to experience it. It's like a movie. It's everybody's favorite game of all time. It was written so well, and I definitely really enjoyed it. The post-apocalyptic world, the stealth gameplay, the story, how the videos are like, all the cutscenes are so cinematic and everything, and I think the show did really well adapting it as well. So Last of Us 1 and 2 had to go on my honorable mentions list. And then last for honorable mentions, we had Jedi Fallen Order. Now this game, the sequel did come out, Jedi Survivor, earlier this year. I didn't get to play that yet, but Jedi Fallen Order, I'm not even a Star Wars fan, but I just like the game's combination of traversal, puzzles, gameplay, combat, different abilities, skill tree, RPG type elements, even like Souls type elements at sometimes where, you had to go through waves of enemies, some were difficult. You had the meditation circles that, they healed you up, but it also revived all the enemies in the immediate area. So you had a choice to make when you're doing that. But Jedi Fallen Order, the story of Cal Kestis, very good game. I'm definitely happy to put it on my list. All right, now let's get into the top 10. So for number 10, we got Sonic Superstars. Now, I am a huge Sonic fan. It is a top 1 or 2, depending on the day that you ask me, franchise for me as far as my favorites go. And Sonic Superstars, it just came at a wrong, not a good time. It launched the same week as Mario. October itself was already very crowded. I feel like they could have put this out in December or maybe even the summertime, but Sonic Superstars is just classic 2D Sonic. You get to play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, and they also added the elements and different powers from the Chaos Emeralds that you collect. So you got different abilities to help you throughout the levels. I didn't really use the abilities that much, but it's cool. It's cool. If you like 2D Sonic, it's definitely a good game to pick up. Next up at number 9, we have the game that won the debut indie game at the Game Awards this year with Cocoon. Now Cocoon, I did a review for this as well, so check that out. But Cocoon was a very, very unique puzzle game that I didn't see coming as I was playing it. As you can see on the screen, you pretty much go through these environments. You have these different orbs that affect the environment in different ways, whether that's adding water pillars or shooting lasers or building invisible bridges, and I just think the game was done really well. It's from the creators of Inside and Limbo, so if you're into those games, you'll definitely enjoy Cocoon. Next up at number 8, we have Super Mario RPG. Now I know a lot of people put this game very high on their list of games of all time, classic from Super Nintendo from the 90s, and I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I like the different humor and dialogue in the game. I did find some of the combat, when you try and bring it up to today's standards of RPGs, is definitely a little shallow, but I definitely liked it enough to put it on my top 10 list. Next, at number 7, we have another Mario game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Now, this was a game, once it was revealed at the Nintendo Direct, everybody was so excited because, number one, we didn't really see a Mario coming. We haven't gotten a real new Mario game since Odyssey, or Super Mario Maker 2, if you want to call that a new Mario game. And it just ditched the entire new Super Mario Brothers formula that we've been dealing with since 2006 on the DS, with the new abilities, the Wonder Flowers or Wonder Seeds, and different, how the levels would just change and do these wacky different puzzles and trying to find all the purple coins. And it was just a really fun time, and I 100%ed it. So I definitely recommend anyone who's a fan of Mario or 2D platformers, definitely check this one out. At number 6, we have Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 4 was a game that my roommate in college probably beat 100 times. He's beat it so many times, and I know it's like up there for him as far as favorite games of all time. I've never been a Resident Evil fan, but Resident Evil 4 Remake really changed the way the game was played, and it's more of an action game with a horror setting. I definitely enjoyed my time with it. The story was okay, the lines were definitely very cheesy, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Definitely really fun puzzles to solve, fighting different enemies and being able to, conserve your ammo and stuff like that, which is typical in horror survivor games. So Resident Evil 4 Remake makes it to number 6 on my list. Moving on to the top half of the list, with number 5, we have another horror survivor remake with Dead Space. Now, Dead Space was a game that came out back in, I think it was 2007 or 2008, back in the Xbox 360 days. I never played it, but when I saw them remake it and seeing the different graphical upgrades and combat upgrades and things like that, I definitely want to dive in, and it did end up coming out on Game Pass. So I did download it off of Game Pass, played it, and again, I'm not a horror survivor game person. I'm not a horror anything person, but I definitely like the different ways of going through the ship, the different, zero gravity elements and fighting like that, upgrading your suit and the different weapons. There's some really unique weapons in this game as well, and upgrading those was really fun. So Dead Space Remake makes it to number 5 on my list. Liza P really took the story of Pinocchio and flipped it on its head. Pretty much you play as an unnamed puppet that has the ability to lie when puppets aren't really able to do that, and you're fighting through a bunch of evil puppets, some crazy boss fights, some interesting weapons that you get to choose, and everything like that. But if you guys want more on it, check out my review, but I definitely need to put Lies of P on my list at number 4. Now we're in the top 3, and coming in at number 3 was the game that shadow dropped and started off this whole year of releases for Xbox, and that is Hi-Fi Rush, the game that no one saw coming from Tango Gameworks. Tango is known to put out more horror games like Evil Within, even Ghostwire Tokyo was more horror themed, and Hi-Fi Rush was very colorful, cel-shaded, music and rhythm based, and I definitely love this game. I want to get back into it and play some of the DLC and the challenge modes, but Hi-Fi Rush definitely was something that I couldn't stop smiling while I was playing it. Chai was a cool character. Everyone loved 808, all the characters in the game, just the different moves, the style, the pay attention to the rhythm, and you didn't really get penalized for not being on beat. I mean, certain sections you kind of had to, but it was definitely just like an extra bonus for people that wanted to invest in it, and it kind of encouraged you to do so. So for anyone who hasn't tried Hi-Fi Rush, please, if you have an Xbox or a Game Pass, please make sure you check it out. It comes in at number 3 on my list. Now for number 2 on the list, we have Sea of Stars. Now Sea of Stars is a game I've talked about since I seen it revealed at the Nintendo Direct back in February earlier this year, and this was a game that, if you're into that SNES style of JRPGs from back in the day, the Chrono Triggers, the Secret of Manas, the Breath of Fires, if you're into any of those games, this game took inspiration from it. Even Super Mario RPG that we mentioned earlier in the video. There's the time elements, the colors, the different abilities and combinations between characters. A great story in my opinion. I've seen a lot of people not like the story, but Sea of Stars coming from Sabotage Studio, an indie who gave us The Messenger, and there's some connection between this and The Messenger. No spoilers, look it up if you want to look into it. And it also won the Indie Game of the Year at the Game Awards, so a lot of people have recognized this. Sabotage just put put out that over 4 million people have experienced the game, whether that's buying it, streaming it, subscribing, whatever. 4 million people have touched Sea of Stars in some capacity, so that's a big win for them. Sea of Stars, another game I did review on the channel, so check that one out as well, but it makes it to number 2 on my list. And now for number 1, it should be no surprise to anybody, but we have The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming in at number 1 on my list. Guys, I don't think you realize how enthralled I was in this game. Now, coming from someone where Legend of Zelda is their favorite franchise of all time, and not really liking the new switch up to Breath of the Wild, this game, just seeing all the coverage from it, seeing the gameplay, seeing the new elements, seeing all the new ways this game was bringing, gameplay to the industry, made me, I'll say forced me to sit down, play through Breath of the Wild, beat it in around 60 hours, and then hop into this game and put in another 100 hours just to do the experience. It was just that good, and I really liked how, a lot of people complained about not having traditional dungeons. They did circumvent that in a way. They were optional, but then having the fuse ability, the ascend ability, the ultra hand, just being able to traverse the world, go, cheese shrines if you needed to, just with a rocket and a hot air balloon. And there's just so much to this game that I feel like a lot of people really, if you didn't play it, you just need to. Whether you're a Zelda fan or not, I feel like The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is just a marvel to behold, an achievement and triumph in video game history, and I think everybody should experience it, and that's why I made it to number 1 on my list. So that's my top 10 for the year, guys. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Which game do you agree with? What did you not agree? What did I miss out on and that I need to pick up on? I know there are a few games I need to play that came out this year. There was just so much that came out this year, but I do plan on getting to a lot of the ones I did miss. But you guys let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're someone new, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.